Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching 6th part of What If Naruto Became Wielder of Universal Weapon. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Everyone had gathered at the top of the Hokage Tower 2 days after the Hidden Sand and Sound Village's invasion to hold a memorial for the shinobi who had been killed during the attack. Except for Hiruzen, who was still recovering from his fight with Orochimaru, Naruto and the others were dressed in black. "That snake is going to pay for this. What we did to him earlier was nothing more than a slap on the wrist," Naruto said, holding Hinata and Fu's hands to coax him, while Kurama and Chome tried to comfort him. "You're not the only one, kid. His greed will destroy people's lives just to get what he wants," Jiraiya said as he approached them. "How's Gigi doing?" "Old monkey is doing well. Doctors say he'll be fully recovered in a few weeks. Until then, we'll have to make repairs." As time passed, the village was repaired with the assistance of Naruto's clones, and Tsunade and his crew arrived to assist after hearing what had happened. Inari came along as well, wanting to see his big brother again. He also met Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon and got along well with them. Naruto went to Ichiraku's for ramen one day after training with Haku and Fu. When Naruto arrived at the entrance, he cheerfully called out to them. "Old man Tucci, Ayame Nichan, I'd like a bowl of miso pork ramen," says Ayame Nichan. "Ah Naruto, it's been a while since we last saw you, where have you been?" Tucci inquired as he began to prepare the noodles. "I've been assisting with repairs around the village, as well as training to be ready for anything," Naruto explained as he sat in one of the chairs. "That's nice of you, but I wish you came here more often," Ayame said as she placed the bowl of ramen in front of Naruto. "Okay, I'll be sure to visit the others more often," Naruto said, taking a pair of chopsticks and about to eat when an Anbu in a boar mask appeared. "Lord Hokage wishes to meet you at the hospital, Naruto Uzumaki," said the ninja. "Arg. Talk about bad timing. Okay, I'll head over there soon." The Anbu nodded before using the body flicker jutsu to vanish. Naruto turned to Tucci and Ayame. "Gigi's calling for me, but I'll be back soon." Naruto turned to Tucci and Ayame. "Gigi's calling for me, but I'll be back soon." Naruto later entered the hospital and, with the help of the nurse at the front desk, found the room where Hiruzen was resting. Naruto entered the room to find Hiruzen on the bed with Koharu, Homura, and Jiraiya on the windowsill. "Hey Gigi, I heard you wanted to see me?" Naruto asked, smiling. "Ah Naruto. Yes, I sought you and Jiraiya to discuss something important," Hiruzen explained. "I've decided to retire as Hokage," which surprised both of them. "But why, Gigi, why do you want to retire?" Naruto inquired. "This attack on the village and my battle with Orochimaru have made me realize that age has finally caught up with me. I would have died if you hadn't given me that scroll, and the village needs a new Hokage to watch over it." They reflected on the invasion. Flashback begin. "Damn it, this doesn't look good," Hiruzen grumbled to himself, staring at Orochimaru, who stood before him with an evil smile. During the battle, he was at a standstill with his former student until he used a forbidden jutsu called Impure Soul Resurrection to summon the first and second Hokage from the dead, and then he took control of them. Since then, Hiruzen has struggled against 3 opponents, especially when the first Hokage used his wood-style jutsu to create a forest in the barrier. To even the odds, Hiruzen summoned Enma of the Monkey Summons to transform into the adamantine Nyoi staff. Orochimaru drew the grass-long sword, or kusanagi in Japanese, and charged at him for close combat. The former Kages also attacked, but Hiruzen dodged them while attaching explosive tags to them and setting them off. They were able to regenerate the lost limbs and continued to attack, bringing us to where he was kneeling on the ground and panting in exhaustion. "What's the matter, Sarutobi-sensei? Are you all out of breath?" To think you used to be one of the greatest shinobi in history, and now look at you. You're nothing but a puny old man with no one to save you now, Orochimaru said with an evil smirk. He's right, as long as he holds their souls on the earth with his will, I can't kill them, Hiruzen remembered, pulling out a scroll from his pouch and looking at it. I remember Naruto giving this to me and telling me that I should open it when I'm in a pinch, so I guess I should open it. Hiruzen unrolled the scroll to reveal a seal, which caused a puff of smoke to clear, revealing Naruto standing there with a smirk on his face before turning to speak to Hiruzen. Hi Gigi, I'm here to assist you. Naruto? What are you doing here? Hiruzen inquired, perplexed. Actually, I'm a special shadow clone that the boss created with the help of the pervy sage. He sealed me in the scroll to be used in certain situations like these, he explained before turning to face Orochimaru and the other cages. Orochimaru used a forbidden jutsu to bring them back from the dead, and you can't kill them normally, so you must engage them with caution, even if they're only half their power, Hiruzen said as he stood next to the clone. Sorry, Sarutobi, but the grass-long sword did more damage than I anticipated, so I can't transform again, Enma explained. Don't worry, Enma-san, I have a good substitute for Gigi. Tag mode. Journey to the west. Naruto channeled chakra to the bracelet and placed a hand on Hiruzen, revealing him holding the golden staff, much to Enma's surprise and Orochimaru's annoyance. Is that the legendary weapon of the Monkey King Sun Wukong? Inquired Enma, who was met with a nod. Then I hope you put down that snake for good, he added before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Gigi, you deal with Snakey while I deal with the former cages, Naruto said. Are you certain about this, Naruto? These are previous cages of the Hidden Leaf Village even at half their power, Hiruzen asked. Don't worry, Gigi. I know I can't beat them, but I can stop them. Hiruzen nodded before charging at Orochimaru while Naruto turned to face the cages. I never thought that I would have to fight the founders of the Hidden Leaf, but I promise that you'll soon be free, cut the heavenly moon. There was another glow of light which faded to reveal Naruto wielding an oversized kyber knife without a hilt and white cloth wrapped around the tang, and has a tall black blade with a silver edge. Naruto charged forward with the blade by his side to engage the two former cages, but the Naidem performed some hand signs and water began swirling around him, water style, tidal wave. The water turned into a giant wave and launched itself at Naruto, but the blonde raised the blade above his head as blue energy emitted from it, Gestuga Tensho, and brought it down to fire a wave of blue energy that went through the wave, splitting it into two and now's my chance. Naruto raced forward, but the Shodan appeared to intercept. Naruto then grabbed the cloth, swung the sword around like a flail, and launched it forward, which was easily dodged and embedded itself in the ground. The Shodan quickly appeared in front of Naruto and lashed out a punch, instinct screaming at the clone to avoid it at all costs. Naruto jumped into the air and looked down to see a large crater, then turned to see the Naidem had nearly finished healing and the sword was nearby, so he used the cloth in his hand to pull himself over to it. Naruto grabbed the blade and dashed over to the Naidem, then used the butt end of the sword to tap the forehead, which placed a symbol. The Naidem began to fade away in specks of light, and he smiled at the blonde before vanishing. What did you just do? Exclaimed Orochimaru as he fought Hiruzen. This sword is a Shinigami's weapon. It has the power to send a soul to the afterlife even if you had it under your control, Naruto explained as he turned to face the Shodan, who approached with caution. I was able to free the second by taking him by surprise, but I don't think I can do the same for the first, so I'd better move to the next level. The Shodan charged at him and threw boulder-shattering punches, putting Naruto on the defensive. Wood style. Wooden dragon. A wood dragon sprouted from one of the trees, and the Shodan mounted it before racing towards Naruto. Gestuga Tensho, he exclaimed, splitting the dragon in half, only to discover that the Shodan was nowhere to be found. Naruto sidestepped to the left as he felt a shift in the wind, just in time to avoid a punch that would have created another crater on the ground. Damn, even if I was created to take more than one hit, a punch like that would have dispelled me. Time to level up. Awakening. Bankai. The blonde accessed Kurama's chakra, which was stored in him, and there was a blast of energy powerful enough to send the Shodem flying back before it faded to reveal Naruto holding a black Dato, Japanese long sword, with a crossguard having 4 prongs in the wood style. Root entanglement. Several roots shot out from the ground and wrapped around Naruto up to his waist to keep him still. Then the Shodem sped through another series of hand signs, wood style, wooden spears. Wooden stakes with sharpened points shot out from the trees from all directions and headed straight for the immobile blonde. Naruto. Hiruzen moved in to assist the clone, but Orochimaru jumped in front of him to obstruct him. As the projectiles approached, Naruto's hand blurred and black streaks could be seen as the wooden stakes and roots were sliced into pieces, much to the Shodem's surprise. "Don't blink or you'll miss my next move," Naruto said as he took a step forward and began darting in and out at speeds fast enough to leave afterimages. Every time the Shodem tried to catch him with the root entanglement jutsu, a black streak flashed by and cut the plants down before they could fully emerge. "It's time to put an end to this." Naruto dashed forward, and the Shodem formed a wooden dome to defend himself, but Naruto stabbed the sword through it. The dome shattered, revealing that Naruto had slashed it several times before stabbing the Shodem, who vanished with a smile on his face. Arg. Naruto turned to see Hiruzen on the floor, bleeding from a slash across his chest, and Orochimaru about to finish him off. Not going to happen. Naruto dashed forward and reappeared behind Orochimaru with the sword by his side, the snake turning back and smirking at hand. "A rookie error, weren't you supposed to appear before me to defend the old man? Now he'll die because of your folly," the snake mocked. "And this is how professionals often lose to rookies because they always underestimate their opponents," Naruto said as he turned around. "You might want to take a look at yourself, particularly your arms." When Orochimaru heard what the blonde said, he noticed that he couldn't feel his arms and that the grass-long sword was lying on the floor by his side, and he looked down to see that his arms were rotten. "What did you do to my arms?" "If you were listening before, I'm wielding a Shinigami's blade, which is why I was able to free the souls of the Hokages or, in this case, cut off a piece of your soul, which is why your arms look that way," Naruto smirked. "It's a fitting punishment for you, Orochimaru, because you can't use your precious jutsu with your arms disabled," Hiruzen said as he held his chest to stop the blood from flowing out. "Damn you both, I swear I'll kill you both," yelled Orochimaru before turning to his squad, were retreating. They lowered the barrier and quickly carried him out before the Anbu could pursue. Naruto dispelled the sword and staff before running to Hiruzen with the Anbu running up to them. "Hang on Gigi, we'll get you help soon," then later dispelled the clone to give the original information of what had happened when he was fighting the spirit possessing Shukaku at the time. End of flashback. "Well, don't look at me, I can't be Hokage because I have my spy network to oversee, and I can't stand doing paperwork," Jiraiya said, raising his hands. "I second that because he could probably make the hot springs co-ed," Naruto said, staring at a terrified Jiraiya. "He once tried to peek into the women's bath while Hinata, Fu, and Sakura were in it." Naruto pursued the pervert with a machine gun before capturing and bashing him with the Cooper cane. "He was our first choice, but Hiruzen informed us of another possible candidate for the Hokage seat," Koharu explained. "Who would that be?" Naruto wondered. "One of the Sannin, Tsunade the Slug Princess," Homura said as he, Jiraiya, and Hiruzen braced for the impending storm. "Why would you want her to be Hokage when she just up and left me in the village?" raged Naruto. "Oh boy, Naruto beat me up for leaving him behind and eventually forgave me, but I'm wondering how Tsunade will get off the hook," Jiraiya shivered. Tsunade is the best candidate among the others, and she is also the Shodem's granddaughter, making her the most suitable candidate among the others, said Koharu. Not only that, but the Hidden Sand Village has offered complete surrender after discovering that Orochimaru was the cause and is responsible for the death of their cage, Koharu explained. Then the question is, where would we find her? Frowned Naruto. You won't have to worry about that, Naruto. I can use my spy network to track her down. They wanted a squad of Anbu to accompany me, but that would only alert Tsunade to our presence and slow things down a little, Jiraiya explained. Which is why I thought of having you join him, because you're capable for the mission and want to meet your godmother, Hiruzen explained. Oh, I want to meet her just so I can hear her excuse for not being around, Naruto said, crossing his arms and frowning. Very well then, you are to depart once you have completed your preparations, Hiruzen said. Naruto nodded in agreement and exited the room. You think Tsunade can handle Naruto's anger? It depends, but I'll make sure to tell you what happens when we get back, Jiraiya said before jumping out the window to prepare himself. Naruto was at the Namikaze mansion getting ready for the mission, while Haku and Hinata watched him pack and Tora slept in the bed. How long will you be away for this mission, Naruto-kun? Haku inquired. I'm not sure how long it will take, but with Pervy Sage's spy network, things will be a lot easier, Naruto said as he sealed extra clothes into a scroll and placed it in his backpack. I hope you return to us safely, Hinata expressed concern. Don't worry, Hinata-chan, I'll be fine, Naruto said as he slung the bag onto his back and Tora jumped into his hood before heading to the village gates to meet Jiraiya and the girls. Along the way, Naruto thought to himself, hey Pervy Sage, how are we going to find her as I'm sure she doesn't stay in one place for too long? Don't worry about that, kid. I have a way of finding Tsunade with minimal effort, Jiraiya said with a knowing grin. What exactly do you mean? Tsunade is known as a Sannin, but she is also known as the legendary sucker because she always loses when it comes to gambling. So that means she's always on the run to avoid debtors, right? Right on the money, kid. Our first stop will be Otakuku Town, where we can rest and gather information from the nearby casinos. Soon after, the pair arrived in town and discovered a vacancy in one of the hotels. Then Jiraiya noticed a beautiful woman who stopped at the entrance and turned to face him with a sexy wink, which made Naruto blush, much to Kurama's chagrin, while Jiraiya was eager to go and flirt with her. Hey Naruto. Why don't you take the keys to our room and wait there while I go gather some information? Jiraiya said with a barely concealed perverted grin. Yeah right, you're just going to flirt with that lady, Naruto muttered as he carried the bags to their room. He's lucky I can't break the seal because I would have ripped him a new one for his perversions, Kurama said, a tick mark on her head. It won't bother me too much because we know he'll get dumped eventually. Naruto had entered the room and settled before writing a message to Hinata and the girls on the scroll he had given to Inari, while Tora slept on the bed. He was replying to them when he heard a knock at the door and got up to answer it, thinking that the pervy sage had been dumped by the girl. He almost grabbed the doorknob when he heard Kurama call out to him alert and Tora hissing at whoever was behind the door. Naruto-kun, it's not Jiraiya behind the door, but two people with high levels of chakra, one of whom is close to Shukaku-chan. Hearing this, Naruto opened the door and found himself face to face with a man who resembled Sasuke but was taller and older, wielding 3 tomos. Who is this guy and why does he look like Sasuke? Could they be related by any chance? Thought Naruto as his palms began to sweat. Hold on. I remember that the entire Uchiha clan was massacred by one of their own with the exception of Sasuke. Could this be the one? Thought Naruto as he heard someone walk up to them and turned to see a man who was very tall with blue skin and a large sword wrapped in bandages. But what Naruto notices the most is that they are both dressed in black coats with red clouds. It's hard to believe that this kid is the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, and he thinks he's a swordsman with those blades, said the blue-skinned man with a sadistic grin, causing Naruto's body to tense. How does he know about Ku-chan? It's supposed to be a secret. Pondered Naruto, his eyes narrowed. Naruto-sama, proceed with extreme caution because I sense their power is very high, and they have more experience than you, Tsunade advised. Naruto Uzumaki, you'll be joining us, the raven-haired man said. Naruto slowly exited the room and faced them, his hand poised to quickly draw either blade. Itachi, why don't you let me chop off a leg in case the kid tries to flee? Said the blue-skinned man as he grabbed the handle of the sword on his back, sensing Tora jump out the window and assuming she's gone to find Jiraiya. Looks like Zabuza has his eye on you, Hoshigami Kisame, Naruto said. So you've met Zabuza. I thought he was still a missing nin, Kisame said, his eyebrows raised. No longer, he's joined the Hidden Leaf, and he told me how much of a shark you were, despite the fact that you appear to be more of a codfish to me, Naruto said with a smirk that earned Kisame a tick mark on his head. I've changed my mind. I'm not just going to chop off your leg but also that rotten tongue of yours, Kisame said as he slowly walked towards Naruto, who was ready to defend himself until Jiraiya arrived, and Itachi, who had remained silent the entire time, finally spoke up. It's been a while. Sasuke, he says. They turned to look behind Itachi and saw Sasuke standing there with his Sharingan active, glaring at Itachi with hatred in his eyes, then speaking coldly and angrily. Itachi Uchiha. Kisame looked at Sasuke and started to smirk before speaking. Well, another Sharingan user and he looks just like you, Itachi. Who is this kid? He's my younger brother, Itachi replied quietly. So you're the one who killed the entire clan and fled the village, Naruto remarked. No wonder Sasuke always seems so cold to the others every time I look at him. It's exactly what you said. I cultivated all of my hatred throughout my life and trained myself. All for the sake of fulfilling my life's purpose of seeing your corpse at my feet. As Sasuke recalled the events of the night his clan members and parents were killed, he quickly made the hand signs and lightning appeared on his left hand, which Itachi immediately recognized as the Chidori, before charging straight at him with the intent to kill. Wait, Sasuke. It's too dangerous to charge in like that, yelled Naruto. Stop talking, he's mine. As he ran, Sasuke yelled. That boy's rage has clouded all sense of reason, Naruto-sama, Tsunade said. Itachi simply stretched his hand out to grab Sasuke by the wrist and redirected the technique to a wall, which resulted in the technique being destroyed, much to Naruto's surprise. Being able to see an incoming attack and redirect it with minimal effort, Naruto reasoned. That is the ability of the Sharingan, to be able to see through attacks and illusions as well as copy or put one into an unbreakable illusion, and I speak from experience. I'm not sure what level his Sharingan is at, but don't look into his eyes or you'll be caught in a genjutsu, Kurama advised. Got it. But I'm not sure how long I'll last against them, so I'll need your chakra, just enough to alert Pervy Sage to get over here, Naruto thought with Kurama's nod of approval. Then his body began to radiate with red chakra, attracting the attention of the two missing nins. Sasuke tried to break free of his brother's grip, but Itachi twisted it hard enough to break it, forcing him to kneel. Sasuke, hold on just a little longer, yelled Naruto. I don't know what you're up to, but I won't let it happen. Kisame swiped at the chakra, causing it to vanish, much to Naruto's surprise as he felt his chakra being drained. Sorry brat, but my Samahata cuts through chakra and eats it, Kisame explained. Naruto drew Tsukiotoshi and held it in the Oboro stance as something wriggled through the bandages as if it were alive. It might be a pain to have you fighting, so I'm going to cut your arms and tongue. Just try it, sharkbait. Kisame dashed at Naruto and slashed at him. The blonde raised his blade horizontally to block it, but to his surprise, he was being pushed by Kisame, who was bearing down on him with only one hand on the sword. You got anything else to say with that rotten mouth, brat? Asked Kisame, sneering. I do, and it's called Secret Arts, Quick Draw. With blurring speed, Naruto quickly sheathed Tsukiotoshi and drew out the Mumi no Tamanu to unleash several slashes around him. But then he heard clangs of metal and saw Kisame jump back with parts of his coat cut and parts of the bandage on his sword slashed to reveal what looks like sharkskin. That's quite an interesting sword that you've got there. Normal swords would have been shredded to pieces, so what's it called? It's a Muramasa blade called Mumi no Tamanu. Hearing the name made Kisame and Itachi blink in surprise as they stared at Naruto's sword, which was emitting green flames. Is that Muramasa? How come you haven't gone insane as a result of its curse? I couldn't care less. Water style, water shark bomb. A shark made of water appeared and raced towards Naruto, who was ready. Hidden arts. Log chop. Naruto took a kendo stance, then raised his blade upwards before bringing it down right as the water shark drew close, splitting it into two, but Kisame appeared before him with the sword in mid-swing. Naruto raised to block it only for it to break from the blow and get knocked back with his clothes shredded and blood flowing out. Naruto painfully got up and sheathed the broken sword and watched Kisame approach him with a smirk on his face. Too bad about the sword, now what are you going to do? Naruto summoned Tsukiotoshi once more and charged at the swordsman, shouting, "Secret Arts, Gale." He jumped into the air and began spinning like a buzzsaw. Kisame raised his sword to block but was surprised to notice that he was gradually being pushed back by the relentless strikes. Itachi was watching the battle with a critical eye, while Sasuke was surprised by Naruto's ability to fight them and felt frustrated by his current level of strength. How can I kill Itachi with my current strength? I need more power, which he has in abundance, raged Sasuke. You spoiled brat. Kisame pushed back, forcing Naruto to come to a halt and land before slashing at him again in an attempt to break the sword, but Naruto raised his sword into the air and yelled, "Secret Arts, Skull." Then a large purple orb appeared before him, looking like a bunch of human skulls molded together. When Samahada made contact, it let out a loud screech, which surprised Kisame and caused steam to rise from the blade. Then Naruto felt a presence from behind him and turned to see a clone of Kisame charging at him, and the original charging in an attempt to trap him, so he formed a hand sign and called out, "Shadow Clone Jutsu." Before he made his next move, two clones appeared on opposite sides and raised their blades to block the incoming attacks. He spun around on his axis like a top, releasing white rings that grew in size, slicing through his clones and Kisami's clone, which was a water clone, and the original, who was pushed back with a horizontal cut on his coat and glaring at the blonde. Then Itachi approached Kisame, looking at Naruto. "It's best that we work together to capture him. He's much different from the reports that we received," Itachi said. Hearing this, Naruto took a step back, with Itachi joining in. "I don't think I can hold them off until Pervy Sage gets here, especially with how small this place is." Then the bracelet glowed brightly and he had a vision, seeing a white-haired man wearing a red coat with a large sword on his back and wielding two guns while engaging what appears to be demons with a cocky grin on his face. There was a bright glow before it faded to reveal a sword on his back and two handguns on his waist holsters. It is a silver sword with a long and double-edged blade with the forward-facing edge curving outward to form the guard. The handguard is heavily designed with rings slanting down it and revising at its center with a round piece at the pommel, and at his holsters is a black gun and a white gun that both share. Naruto smirked as he looked at their stunned expressions before grabbing the blade from his back and letting it clang on the floor. "This sword and I share one thing in common. We both love to start a rebellion," he said before charging with the sword dragging on the floor and Kisame running to meet him with a crazed smirk on his face. They constantly clashed swords, neither side giving the other an advantage, pushing each other with their swords in an attempt to overpower, with Naruto channeling chakra into his muscles when he heard Tsunade warn of an attack coming from behind. Quickly deflecting the sword to the side, Naruto spun around and stabbed Rebellion to the ground before taking Ebony and Ivory from the holsters and unleashing a volley of bullets. Kisame twirled his sword like a propeller to deflect the bullets, and Itachi charged at Naruto while dodging and deflecting the bullets and his kunai, before Naruto tossed Ivory into the air and caught it with his teeth before grabbing Rebellion and engaging Itachi in close combat with a gun and sword using a combination of swordplay and gunkata. Damn, that Sharingan is making it difficult to land a hit. If Itachi is this strong, I've got a long way to go if I'm going up against Madara Uchiha, Naruto reflected. Naruto-kun, Kisame is launching an attack, yelled Kurama. Naruto deflected Itachi's kunai and moved in between them, sheathing Rebellion and taking Ivory from his mouth before pointing each gun at the other. Then he began firing a rapid barrage of bullets from various angles, preventing them from getting any closer to him. I really owe Deadpool-sensei for this kind of training, he said. True, but I still doubt his sanity, Kurama said as she remembered how the merc with the mouth acted when he was around. Hehehe, I'm impressed that you could hold us off, but I wonder how long you'll last, smirked Kisame, clearly enjoying the battle, while Itachi silently stared at him, but Naruto avoided looking into his eyes. I hate to admit it, but I'm exhausted from fighting two missing nins of high rank. Where the hell are you, pervy sage? Reflected Naruto. At that moment, there was a puff of smoke and Naruto heard a voice familiar to him, much to his relief and annoyance, saying, Jiraiya the Toad Sage has arrived to save the day and make the women swoon with love at my heroics. As you can see, your seduction plans have failed because only rare beauties fall for me. The smoke cleared to reveal Jiraiya in a kabuki pose, and Tora stood next to him, a frown on her face. Pervy sage, it's about time you got here. I didn't know how long I would have lasted, Naruto said, still aiming the guns at Kisame and Itachi. Sorry about that, Naruto. Turns out the lady was under a genjutsu that one of them must have placed on her. They must have done it to try to separate us. It turns out they were looking for me and her. I had the same thought, Jiraiya said as he took a step forward. Now I see how Kakashi knew, it's because you told him, Itachi said, as Naruto turned and aimed both guns at him. What happened to Kakashi ni? If something were to happen to him, I'd turn you into Swiss cheese with ebony and ivory. Itachi ignored him and continued speaking, Naruto is the price we're after, and we'll get him. Sorry, but there's no way you're going to get my godson. I'd rather kill you both and collect information at the same time, Jiraiya explained. Get out of here. Everyone turned to see Sasuke struggle to his feet. I'm the one who's supposed to kill him, no one else. I will not be denied my mission. I'm not interested in you right now, Itachi stated. Then I'll pique your interest. Sasuke attacked with his other arm, but Itachi simply dodged and backhanded him hard enough to send him flying to the other side of the hall. Then he appeared in front of Sasuke and grabbed his head to look into his eyes, and Sasuke screamed out loud before losing consciousness. You cretin. I'm not going to let you get away with doing that to your own brother. The devil trigger has awakened. Stinger. Naruto yelled angrily, his spiky hair flushed white, and his eyes turned red with red veins around them, emitting a blood-red aura from his body. He lunged forward, Rebellion in front of him, but Itachi let go of Sasuke and moved out of the way. What kind of authority is this? This cannot be the Kyuubi's, yelled Kisame. Of course not, but it's a power that will make your organization tread carefully in his presence, Jiraiya smirked. Fire style. Massive fireball. Itachi launched a large ball of flame at the blonde, and Naruto twirled the blade and held it in reverse as it glowed white. The missing nins jumped out of the way as Jiraiya appeared next to Naruto with the body flicker jutsu, sheathing Rebellion and taking out ebony and ivory, which began to glow red. Before launching two red projectiles that exploded as they approached Itachi and Kisame, clearing the smoke to reveal the hall destroyed and the missing nins gone. Naruto-kun, they got away, Kurama said as Naruto exited the Devil Trigger mode and dispelled the weapons before collapsing to his knees and panting heavily from exhaustion. Jiraiya and Tora ran over to check on him. "Naruto, how are you?" Jiraiya inquired, concerned. "I'm just tired of fighting those guys, and I'm lucky they haven't gone all out on me as far as I can tell," Naruto explained. "You're correct because they're S-ranked missing ninjas on the bingo book. In addition, your body requires rest. Most weapons are wielded by heroes who aren't truly human, so using them may cause strain on your body," Tsunade explained. "Who are those guys working for and what do they want to do with Ku-chan?" inquired Naruto. "We'll talk about it later, but first we need to check on Sasuke," Jiraiya said. Later, Guy appeared to carry Sasuke back to the village, although Naruto and the others found it amusing when he mistook Jiraiya for an enemy and ambushed him with a kick to the face. Guy reported that Itachi and Kisame came to the village to look for Naruto before coming here and used the same jutsu on Kakashi, which worried Naruto. Meanwhile, in an unknown town, a blonde-haired woman wearing a green vest with the kanji "gamble" written on it sits in a casino playing a roulette machine with a raven-haired woman in a kimono and sandals who was carrying a pig who was wearing a vest and necklace, and everyone had gathered to watch her winning streak. "It appears that your luck has finally turned, Tsunade-sama," said the raven-haired girl cheerfully, with the pig agreeing. But instead of smiling, the blonde woman frowned. "I never get a hit like this big. This gives me a bad feeling that something bad is about to happen," she said. Two people were walking towards a town on the road, and they were not Naruto and Jiraiya, but the Orochimaru and his right-hand man Kabuto. "Are you certain Tsunade will heal your arms?" Kabuto inquired. "Of course she will, especially if I give her the one thing she craves the most," Orochimaru said evilly, though it won't be exactly what she craves. After leaving Sasuke in Guy's care as he returned to the Hidden Leaf, Naruto and Jiraiya continued on their journey in search of Tsunade in order for her to become the next Hokage and heal the injured, including Kakashi and now Sasuke. "Hey pervy sage, who are those guys working for and why are they after me?" Naruto inquired, while Kurama and Tsunade listened intently to learn more about the two missing nins. Jiraiya was silent for a moment, as if debating whether or not to tell him. Those two were members of an organization known as the Akatsuki, a group of S-ranked missing nins. Previously they were simply mercenaries for hire, but I've learned from my spy network that they have been going after people with massive amounts of chakra, a jinchuriki to be exact, he said. "You mean they're going after the tailed beasts inside them?" "That means they'll go after Gaia-chan and Fu-chan," realized Naruto. "Yes, I've been trying to figure out why they're doing it, but all I've figured out so far is that it won't benefit the entire elemental nations." Tora mewed softly to comfort Naruto as he clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles turned white. "Those guys see the Biju as nothing more than sources of power. Well, they're not going to hurt my loved ones as long as I'm still around. I'm not going to let them do as they see fit." Naruto-kun. Kurama sobbed as she heard his promise to protect her and the other Biju. "Naruto-sama, please know that I will assist you in any way I can," Tsunade said. "Thank you, Tsunade," Naruto said before turning his attention to Jiraiya. "I admire your spirit, kid. You have truly inherited the will of fire. The main reason I asked you to join my search was to devote the majority of my time to training you to become stronger for your future battles. I can tell they'll be ones for the history books. Well, what are we waiting for? Christmas? Let's get right to it," smirked Naruto to his godfather. "Whoa, take it easy kiddo, the first thing you need to know is that while I'm training you, I also need to gather information on Tsunade's whereabouts because rumor has it that she never stays in one place for too long and tends to change her appearance in order to avoid her debts," Jiraiya said. "Okay, But you better not slack on either of those two or else I'm going to have to bust a cap up your ass, Naruto said with a dark look that reminded Jiraiya of the time he tried to peek in the women's bathhouse where Naruto's girlfriends were at the time, and Naruto found out and chased him around the village again while swinging the blades of Athena around. Okay, I got it. In any case, we're here. Jiraiya and Naruto stood in front of a long railing, looking over at a large town built at the bottom of a large crater. Naruto noticed many stalls selling foods, toys, games, and other items as they walked through the streets, with people buying items or simply conversing amongst themselves. Wow, this place is amazing! Exclaimed Naruto, with Tora agreeing. There appears to be a festival going on around here. How about some downtime before we begin your training? Jiraiya suggested. Okay, I could get some souvenirs for the girls while I'm still here, Naruto said as he opened his backpack to take a frog wallet he affectionately named Gama-chan, which was obviously full of money based on how puffy it appeared. Wow, you've got a lot of money! Exclaimed Jiraiya. Yeah, I saved some of it from my missions, especially the one where I went to the Land of Waves, Naruto exclaimed with delight. But what about your inheritance? Jiraiya asked, hesitant to reveal anything because they were standing in the street, where anyone could overhear. I don't want to rely on it yet. I'll use it only when I really need it, and it feels good to spend money you've earned, she says. That's fantastic. You're following one of the 3 prohibitions. If you weren't, I would have taken your wallet for safekeeping, Jiraiya said. What are the 3 prohibitions? Naruto inquired. The 3 prohibitions are temptations that would ruin a shinobi's life: alcohol, beautiful women, and, worst of all, money. Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I don't drink yet, I already have girls who love me, and I'm not too materialistic to want to use money to buy a lot of stuff. Besides, I get the feeling that you would have used my money if I gave it to you, said Naruto, narrowing his eyes at Jiraiya, who suddenly found the skies interesting to look at. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later. He walked off with Tora sitting on his shoulders. I keep forgetting that he's mentally older than he looks, Jiraiya reflected with a sweat drop. Naruto was walking through the streets, staring at the stalls, when he noticed a stall selling accessories and a few that caught his eye. He approached it and was greeted by the stall's owner. Hey there, kid, see anything you want to buy for your girlfriend? Inquired the proprietor. Yeah, quite a few to be exact, Naruto said as he examined the items on the shelves. Go ahead and pick whatever tickles your fancy. Naruto was able to purchase some accessories for the girls with the assistance of Kurama. He purchased a kimono bracelet with cherry blossoms for Sakura, a necklace with a lavender flower motif for Hinata, a hairclip with beetle wings design for Fu, a purple brooch for Ino, a pair of bun covers for Tenten, and a pair of snowflakes earrings for Haku. To Tora's delight, he purchased a red ribbon with cat paw prints. They then went to look at the other stalls. What do you think we should do next, Tora? Asked Naruto. Tora sniffed the air before raising a paw to point at something, looking to see a food stall where a man was selling salty grilled sea bream on a stick, shioyaki. Good idea, let's go get something to eat, Tora agreed. After filling up on festival food, Naruto went to play some games and won a lot of prizes, which he sealed away in a storage scroll and intended to give a few to Konohamaru and his friends. Where do you think the pervert is now? Kurama asked, irritably. Don't worry, Ku-chan, it won't be so hard to find that perverted godfather of mine, Naruto said as he walked down the street wearing a fox mask he bought from a mask shop. Sure enough, they heard familiar laughter and traced the source to a clubroom. See what I mean? They peered through the curtains to see Jiraiya sitting on a couch with 2 women on both sides and is visibly drunk. What can I say? I love the ladies. Jiraiya exclaimed with a perverted grin as he noticed Naruto standing at the entrance. "Oh hey kid, had your fill of the festival already?" he asked. "That I did, and I can see that you're having fun as well, and since we both had our downtime." Naruto walked over, grabbed him by the back of his collar, and proceeded to drag him out of the club, despite protests from the perverted godfather. "Wow. How manly of you. Why don't you stay for a while so we can get to know each other?" said one of the girls, her eyes seductive. "You stay away from my Naru-kun," yelled Kurama angrily, while Tsunade looked at them through Naruto's eyes. "Sorry, but I'm already taken," Naruto said politely before leaving the girls disappointed. Jiraiya grumbled as he was dragged down the street. "Oh come on Naruto. I haven't had my fun with those pretty girls yet. You should talk. You told me about honoring the 3 prohibitions, and yet I find you breaking all 3 at the same time. Seriously, what kind of pervert are you?" Naruto said. "It's quite obvious, I'm a super pervert," exclaimed Jiraiya with a perverted grin on his face, and Naruto sighed to himself, wondering why he had bothered to ask that question in the first place. Soon, they were on the outskirts of town, and Jiraiya had sobered up. "Now then, let's get down to my training," he said. "Alright, Naruto, just give me a moment." Jiraiya reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll, unrolled it, and channeled chakra on one of the seals, releasing a bag full of water balloons, much to Naruto's surprise. "What are you going to do with these water balloons, and where did you get them?" "When I was walking around gathering information, I sent a shadow clone to buy them, and the reason I bought them was for your training, because I'm going to teach you one of your father's signature techniques. The Rasengan." "Really?" "I've read about it, that it was one of the techniques that made him well known during the Third Great Ninja War," Naruto exclaimed. "That's right, he got the idea from watching one of the tailed beast use the tailed beast ball, and it took him 4 years to fully master the technique. He taught Kakashi and me the Rasengan, and it's only right that I teach his son the technique," Jiraiya explained. "Alright, pervy sage, let's get down to business," Naruto said as he reached for his bag and pulled out a water balloon, though Tora jumped off his hood and kept a safe distance away from him in case the balloon popped. "There are 3 steps to mastering the Rasengan, and this is the first," Jiraiya said, holding out a water balloon with bulges until it burst. He was using his chakra to spin the water in the balloon, Tsunade explained. "I recall you mastered the tree climbing and water walking exercises among the chakra control exercises, right?" Jiraiya asked, and Naruto nodded. "Well, in the tree climbing exercise, you learn to gather and maintain chakra in one place, and in the water walking exercise, you learn to release a steady amount of it. I think I get it, so I use the tree climbing technique to gather and maintain chakra in my hand, and then I use the water walking technique to release a steady flow. That's how you popped that water balloon, right?" Naruto asked. "That's right, Naruto, you totally got it. Let's get started on your training," Jiraiya said with a smile. A few hours later, Naruto was still unable to pop the first balloon, no matter how fast he spun it, and this was beginning to irritate him. "Darn it, why isn't the balloon popping? Am I doing something wrong?" grumbled Naruto. "Naru-kun, which way are you spinning the water balloon?" Kurama inquired. "Why have I been spinning it to the left?" Naruto inquired. "That explains why you've been having so much trouble. You're a clockwise rotation type," she says. "What exactly do you mean?" "According to the archives, there are 2 types, one is a clockwise rotation type and the other is a counterclockwise rotation type. It's important to know which rotation type you are because there are jutsus that require the rotation of their chakra, and if you rotate in the opposite direction of your natural rotation type, it will counteract with each other," Tsunade explained. "And because I'm sealed inside you, I could tell by looking at your chakra system," Kurama explained. "Thanks for your help, girls," Naruto thought as he tried it again, this time in the right direction. The water balloon was bulging a lot but it wasn't close to bursting, still no good, I must be missing something, he thought. Why don't you ask Jiraiya to show the technique again? You might find out what was missing, Kurama suggested. Naruto nodded and stood up before walking over to the toad sage who was relaxing against a tree. Hey kid, have you done it yet? Said Naruto as Jiraiya looked up. Not yet, but could you show me how you popped the water? Naruto inquired. Alright, I'll show you again. Jiraiya took a water balloon and began spinning it again, and Naruto watched closely as the balloon appeared bumpy on the surface before bursting, and he realized what he was doing wrong. That was it. That's what I was doing wrong. Naruto grabbed his water balloon and concentrated his chakra into it, causing the balloon to become as bumpy as Jiraiya's before burst, much to his delight. Alright, I did it. Way to go, Naru-kun! Exclaimed Kurama. Wow, so how did you figure it out? Jiraiya was surprised. Well, when I was watching you spin the water in the balloon, I missed the fact that you were spinning in multiple directions while I was only spinning in one, so when I asked you to show me again, I was able to find the missing piece to the puzzle, explains the author. He's really your son Minato, to be able to figure out his problem by simply observing and trying it out. Jiraiya smiled proudly at his explanation. Congrats Naruto, and that means you've completed the first stage and are ready for the next one. Now let's find a hotel and turn in for the night. Naruto nodded in agreement and they walked back into town together. The next day, they returned to the makeshift training ground, this time with Jiraiya bringing a bag of rubber balls. So, what's the second stage? Jiraiya asked, tossing him a rubber to catch before taking one for himself. For this second stage, I want you to pop this one, and let me warn you, it's a lot harder than popping a water balloon, Jiraiya said as he held out the rubber ball, which began to look bumpy before bursting with more force than the water balloon. Recall that the first stage is rotation, but the second stage is force. Unlike the water balloon, the rubber ball is solid, so you must exert chakra rotation on it. Alright, let me give it a shot, Naruto said, sending chakra into the rubber ball, which began to appear bumpy again. However, rather than bursting like Jiraiya's, it popped a hole and deflated, much to his dismay. It appears to me that you did not put enough power into the ball, Jiraiya said. What exactly do you mean? Look at this, Jiraiya said, holding out a blank piece of paper for Naruto to see. All I see is a piece of blank paper. Jiraiya took out an ink brush and drew something on it before showing it to Naruto, but this time there was a back dot in the center. A black dot in the middle, but what does it all mean? You see, when you first looked at the blank piece of paper, your eyes wandered all over it, but when I put the dot on it, your mind completely focuses on it, which grants spiritual stability. When you were focusing your chakra into the rubber ball, it seemed to me that you were doing it without a target in mind, which is what gave you that previous result, Jiraiya explained. So you mean that the next time I concentrate, I should set a target for my mind to focus on in order to channel my chakra properly, Naruto inquired. Like this, Jiraiya took out the ink brush once more and drew a small spiral mark in the center of Naruto's palm. Now whenever you focus your chakra into your right hand, you should concentrate only on that mark. Now try it.
Got it. Naruto took another rubber ball and held it forward, mentally imagining the mark behind the ball and feeling his chakra flow towards it.
Jiraiya and Tora ran over to check on him after the rubber ball exploded with such force that it sent him flying into a tree. Are you okay, Naru-kun? Kurama inquired, concerned. I'm fine, just a little sore, Naruto thought as he slowly rose. Amazing. To concentrate so much power that it sent him flying and even scorched his hands, it kinda scares me to think about the results when he completely masters the jutsu, Jiraiya said. I guess I finished the next stage, pervy sage? Naruto smiled as he felt Kurama's chakra heal his hands. That's correct, but right now we have to get going. I just received a memory of my shadow clone, which Tsunade recently spotted over at Tanzaku Town. Alright then. Let me just rest for a minute and then we can get moving, Naruto said. Meanwhile, in Tanzaku Town, Tsunade had just emerged from a casino with a solemn expression on her face, with a raven-haired girl known as Shizune attempting to catch up with her while holding a briefcase full of money won by her mistress, and their pet pig Tauntaun close behind. Lady Tsunade, please wait. For you to win this much after such a long time is a miracle, but you don't seem happy at all. That's it, I never win in a gamble, so for me to win all of a sudden, something bad is about to happen, and I can't help but feel a chill crawl up my spine, Tsunade thought. But, Lady Tsunade, this is a tourist destination, so we should take our time looking around, and I've always wanted to see the historic castle, she says. Then look quickly so we can get moving, Tsunade said as she walked away, Shizune looking at her in confusion. Orochimaru was leaning against the torii gate at the town's entrance, gritting his teeth in pain from his arms. Lord Orochimaru, are you all right? Kabuto inquired, concerned. Let's get this over with. The sooner Tsunade heals my arms, the sooner I can plan to kill Sarutobi and that blonde brat, even if we have to get a little forceful, Orochimaru said, before continuing on into town in search of his former teammate. Naruto and Jiraiya were standing among a few trees on the outskirts of Tanzaku Town, facing each other. So, what's the last step? Naruto exclaimed, just a little more and I'll be able to use the jutsu like Dad. Before we do, let's go over the last two stages. The first was rotation, and the second was power. For the third and final stage, you need to combine the first two stages in order to pass the third stage and master the Rasengan, Jiraiya said. Then he took out a balloon, filled it with air, tied it, and held it out for Naruto to see. What does it have to do with the balloon this time? Inquired Naruto. Let me show you what's going on with the balloon, Jiraiya said as a blue spinning ball of chakra appeared in his other hand. Amazing. The chakra is rotating very quickly but is still in a perfect spherical shape, Naruto thought as he stood transfixed by the blue sphere. The third stage requires you to draw on your chakra's maximum power and rotation to your hand, and then maintain it by visualizing a thin membrane for compression. In other words, I maintain the power and rotation that I learned previously, but this time I should keep the shape within the balloon and not let it pop. That's right. Let me show you the difference. Jiraiya walked over to a tree and stood before it. When you mastered the first two stages, this is what you would get. He raised his hand and the spinning sphere took form before he slammed it into the tree, leaving a spiral mark on it. But after mastering the third step, this is the result. He held out his hand for the spinning sphere to take form, only that it was spinning faster. Then he slammed it into the tree again. Naruto was taken aback to see the sphere actually grind through the tree before dissipating. Amazing, was all he could say after seeing what he saw. That just goes to show why it's an A rank approaching S rank, Kurama said, looking impressed because it's a jutsu derived from her and her fellow tailed beast. If you can compress the rotating chakra in your palm, the destructive power will be at its peak, but keep in mind that this is the most difficult of the three stages, Jiraiya explained. Let me give it a shot then. Naruto held the balloon in front of him, then channeled his chakra into it and began to rotate it, trying to visualize a membrane to compress the power like Jiraiya suggested, but it was too much and the balloon popped. You're right, pervy sage, it's a lot harder than it looks. As I previously stated, we should get a move on in our search for Tsunade. You can practice on the road. Gotcha. They soon found themselves walking through the streets of Tanzaku, Jiraiya leading them to many casinos and other gambling areas with little luck, as they had been told that Tsunade had been seen but not for long. Naruto was still practicing the third stage but was having difficulty compressing the spinning chakra in the balloon as it bursts every time. Later, they're in front of another casino's entrance, looking for the evasive woman. Hey Naruto. Why don't you stay here while I go around looking for information about Tsunade's whereabouts? Jiraiya suggested. Alright, pervy sage, Naruto said, nodding and returning his attention to the balloon as Jiraiya entered. A few hours later, he returned to find Naruto waiting for him on top of a briefcase, which piqued his interest. "Hey Naruto, what's up with the briefcase?" Jiraiya inquired. "I got bored while you were gone, so I wandered off and ended up in another casino, where Ku-chan persuaded me to play a game of poker for a bit despite it being my first time, and I ended up winning the first game." "Wait, what do you mean, first game?" "After that, more people joined in to play, and I kept winning until I won up to 1 million Ryo, when the owner of the casino appeared and asked me to leave, and then I came back here after packing the money in a briefcase," he said. "Hold on. Let me get this straight, you wandered into a casino and played a game of poker, which you ended up winning despite the fact that it was your first time at it, and then you won a few more games until you earned just about 1 million Ryo just before you got kicked out by the owner for fear of bankruptcy, am I right?" Jiraiya asked, puzzled. "That pretty much sums it up," Naruto said with a shrug. "With this kid's luck, Tsunade might try to kidnap him and take him to casinos all over the elemental nations," Jiraiya reasoned. "Alright kid, put that money away and let's get going." They continued their search throughout the town with no success. The strangest thing they saw was a historic castle being destroyed by what the residents described as a monster resembling a giant snake. Hearing this piqued their interest, and they went to the castle's location, but they couldn't find any more clues. It was getting late, and the two were hungry, so they stopped at a tavern for a bite to eat. "Why do we have to eat here? Can't we go somewhere else?" Naruto wondered. "Normally, yes, but it's these kinds of places where one can gather information, and a bottle of sake tends to loosen a person's mouth enough to blab out things they're not supposed to say in public," Jiraiya explained. "Alright, let's just go in and eat." When they entered the tavern, Naruto noticed Jiraiya's face lit up with recognition as he looked across the room. Naruto followed his gaze until he came across a blonde woman sitting alongside a raven-haired girl and a pig. "Tsunade!" exclaimed Jiraiya. "Jiraiya? What are you doing here?" exclaimed the person in question. Naruto frowned as he examined the person they were looking for. "So that's Tsunade, huh? The person who could have taken care of me back at the village," he thought. "Please calm down, Naru-kun. We aren't here to start a fight," Kurama said. "Kurama-san is correct, Naruto-sama. Don't forget why you sought her out," Shinami said. "You're right. We came to take her back to the Hidden Leaf so she can become the next Hokage as well as heal Gigi, Kakashi, and Sasuke," Naruto said calmly. They went to sit at Tsunade's table and saw that she was quite drunk, so they ordered food and a bowl of milk for Tora. "It's like a reunion, with all the old faces showing up at the same time," Tsunade said. Jiraiya drank his cup of sake silently before saying, "You must be talking about Orochimaru, wasn't he here?" Naruto frowned upon hearing the name. What was he doing here?
Tsunade glared at Shizune, as if to tell her to be quiet.
"Nothing special, he just stopped by to say hello." "She's lying, Naru-kun," Kurama said with a glare, sensing her emotions. "I know, as if destroying a castle is a way of greeting someone, there must be something going on that she doesn't want us to know, but we're going to find out anyway," Naruto reflected as he frowned at Tsunade. "So, what brings you here?" Tsunade asked, raising a cup to her lips. "Sarutobi-sensei sent us to bring you back to the village so that you could become the 5th Hokage," Jiraiya explained. "Surely you must have heard what happened at the village during the Chunin exams," Shizune exclaimed, almost dropping her cup in surprise. "I've heard about it, and Orochimaru himself told me about how he wasn't able to finish Sensei off due to some interference." "True, but Sensei was severely injured during the battle as a result of that." "Humph," Tsunade grumbled before looking at Naruto, who was frowning at her. "Who is this kid, and why is he frowning at me?" she wondered. This is Naruto, and he is both my apprentice and someone important to me, Naruto smiled softly. And the reason he's glaring at you, you'll soon find out, Naruto frowned again. Then you must be slipping, Jiraiya, because from what I'm seeing, this kid looks like he doesn't know his left from his right, and he has a quick temper that could get him killed in battle, a complete contrast to your first apprentice. Naruto clenched his fist in rage at the obvious disrespect she was showing him, which Tsunade didn't notice but Shizune and Jiraiya did. Naru-kun, please calm down, don't let your anger get the best of you, Kurama said, and Naruto's fists slowly loosened as he tried to relax again. You may say that, Jiraiya replied, but he has proven to be just as interesting as the fourth. Now, what do you think about the offer Sensei has made to you? I refuse. Why should I return to that village just to waste my life like those foolish men? I'm sure they had nothing better to do with their lives, she says. How could she say that? She's trying to say that Dad was stupid to sacrifice his very soul to protect the village? To protect me? Raged Naruto. Jiraiya was also staring at Tsunade. I don't know what happened while you were traveling through the lands, but you've definitely changed if you could say something like that in public, he said. Years have taught me a great deal, and Sarutobi should have known better, which is why I can say this. To be Hokage is nothing but a fool's game, Tsunade smirked. When she said those words, a huge killer intent was felt throughout the tavern. Tsunade and Jiraiya sweated slightly, and Shizune quivered in fear. They turned to see Naruto, filled with rage, staring at Tsunade. Tsunade, you have no idea what you've just gotten yourself into, Jiraiya observed. To be Hokage is nothing but a fool's game. Naruto saw red and leapt across the table to confront Tsunade about what she said, but Jiraiya quickly reached out and grabbed him to keep him from getting any closer to her. Let me go, Jiraiya, she has to pay for what she just said about the Hokages. Yelled Naruto, struggling to free himself. Naruto, please calm down. You're causing a commotion here, said Jiraiya, struggling to keep his godson from attacking his teammate despite his own anger at what she said. Please listen to us and calm down, Kurama said as she tried to stop him from accessing her chakra in his rage. No. She has to pay for insulting Gigi and the other Hokages, yelled Naruto angrily. Tsunade became irritated and stood up from her seat, glaring at him. Do you know who you're talking to, you little brat? Of course I do. I'm talking to a drunken old hag who sucks at gambling, flees her responsibilities, and is a no-good coward, he replied. Then let's take this outside, brat. It's about time someone taught you your place because it's obvious Jiraiya failed to do so, which doesn't surprise me much since he taught the fourth how to throw his life away. Please reconsider, Lady Tsunade, Shizune pleaded. Jiraiya sighed, knowing there was no stopping Naruto now and hoping he didn't go overboard in his rage. I know I can't stop you, but don't go overboard, okay? Naruto responded with a curt nod. They then moved to the middle of the street, where Naruto squared off against Tsunade, who was smirking to his chagrin. I have to be ashamed of myself, a Sannin member taking on an arrogant genin. I know I can beat you with one finger, Tsunade said. Before, I would have told you not to show off, but now I'm telling you to take him more seriously, because you might regret it, Jiraiya said seriously, surprising Tsunade and Shizune. Don't bother pervy sage. I doubt she'll listen to anything with that stupid belief of hers that I intend to destroy, Naruto said, sealing away the two Muramasa and taking a fighting stance. So, what are you waiting for, brat? Come on over and show me what you've got. With pleasure. Naruto charged forward in a zigzag pattern, which surprised Tsunade, and aimed a straight punch at her face. Tsunade simply smirked and raised her finger to meet the punch, which she stopped cold, much to his surprise. She stopped my punch with a finger? Pervy Sage would have had to use his entire hand to do that, even when drunk. Is that all you've got? Surely you've trained harder than this, or is this your limit? Naruto growled angrily as he pulled his fist back and performed a roundhouse kick at her head only to be blocked by the finger, but he didn't stop there as he jumped and used his other foot for another roundhouse from the opposite direction at her head only for Tsunade to duck under it, and he landed on all fours with his back. Then he quickly rolled forward to avoid any attack from her before taking a fighting stance against her. Flying kick. He charged forward with a jumping front kick. Tsunade simply flicked the leg aside, knocking him off balance, and then she flicked him on the forehead again, sending him tumbling backwards. Lady Tsunade, please stop. Shizune exclaimed, concerned that her master was taking the fight too far. Naruto recovered from his tumble by performing a handspring and landing on his feet before placing a hand on his forehead. Even though he was wearing his headband, the finger flick still hurt. Before focusing on the fight, he shook his head to relieve the pain. Hey brat, before I knock you out, I have a question for you, Tsunade said. What do you want? A stern Naruto asked. How come you're so angry at me despite the fact that we've never met, and why are you so defensive about the title of Hokage? For the first, I won't respond, but for the second, I will. The purpose of being Hokage is something one must never take lightly. Before, it wasn't truly my goal to be Hokage, but if it is to protect all who are precious to me, then I shall make it my dream to be Hokage, declared Naruto, while Jiraiya simply smiled. Even if you don't become Hokage, you have inherited Minato and Kushina's protectiveness. They would have been proud of you, kid, he reflected fondly. Tsunade could have sworn she saw a pale blue-haired man and a young boy who were too painfully familiar to her standing next to him with the same expression as she took a step back, which Naruto was quick to notice. She's distracted, now's my chance to attack, Naruto reasoned as he reached into his ninja pouch and pulled out a smoke grenade, tossing it to the ground to create a smokescreen. Then a kunai flew out of the smoke, but Tsunade jerked awake and tilted her head to the left to avoid the kunai. She waited for Naruto to emerge from the cloud of smoke to attack, thinking the kunai was just a distraction, but the smoke cleared to reveal that the blonde had vanished. Her instincts told her to back up, which she did just in time to avoid a dive kick from Naruto, who appeared from above with a teleport that cracked the ground a little before thrusting a finger into his chest to knock him back. Then she noticed him smirking before disappearing in a puff of smoke. A shadow clone? Then where's the original? Tsunade wondered. Then she heard rapid footsteps from behind her and turned around to see Naruto charging at her with a blue spinning orb in between his hands. Isn't that? But how did he get behind me? I see, he used a smoke grenade to hide the fact that he created a shadow clone before transforming into the kunai, which the clone then threw with the intention of missing so that he could surprise her from behind, Jiraiya thought as he watched the battle. Tsunade raised a finger into the air and brought it down to the ground, creating a wide crack in front of her and widening in his path. Naruto stopped channeling his chakra into the orb, which faded away as he quickly sidestepped to avoid it, but then he felt something grab hold of his jacket and turned to see Tsunade behind him, her finger hooked onto the hood of his jacket. She yanked hard on his jacket, swinging him around before hurling him across the street, slamming into a building's wall before slumping to the ground. That should teach you not to challenge people who are out of your league. Tsunade turned to leave when she heard a groan and turned back to see Naruto standing up and staring at her. This isn't over by a long shot, Naruto said as he crossed his arms, Jiraiya's eyes widening at what he was about to do. Tsunade, I suggest you be cautious from now on because he's about to unleash his brutality, Jiraiya warned. Brutality? Shizune inquired. It is a state in which Naruto begins to attack ferociously and relentlessly to the point where he will continue to attack no matter how many times you attack him, similar to a berserker except with rational thinking. How strong is this kid? Naruto brought his hands to his sides as he raised his head to the night sky and unleashed a powerful roar, emitting a certain pressure that caused Tsunade to tense up before charging forward to engage her in close combat. He was throwing attacks left and right, switching between punches and kicks as if on instinct, by which time Tsunade had stopped using a finger and had switched to using her entire hand to block and parry the attacks. She smacked him on the head, sending him skidding backwards, but he shrugged it off and charged right back at her, ready to attack again. What's up with this kid? He ignores the pain in order to continue his attacks? He doesn't even flinch from the pain. I should stop holding back a little more. Tsunade attacked with a backhand, and Naruto crossed his arms to block it, but the impact was powerful enough to send him flying again, landing on his back with a thud. He rose to his feet, his arms aching from pain as he attempted to move them. Damn it. That hit was a lot stronger than the previous ones. There has to be a way for me to surpass her strength. I need more power to win. The bracelet glowed bright red as he raged, then faded to reveal something in its place. He was dressed in a red dragon-like gauntlet that encircled his hand and most of his arm with 2 green jewels and 10 golden spikes. Everyone was taken aback by what they were seeing. Is that a new bracelet weapon? I've never seen him use it before, Jiraiya wondered. Where did that come from, and could that bracelet have a storage seal inside? Shizune wondered. What is that brat up to now? Tsunade wondered as she waited for him to launch another attack with that strange gauntlet. Naruto was perplexed as he looked at the gauntlet. What does this one do? Suddenly, the green jewel glowed brightly and a voice could be heard from it. Boost.
Then he felt his power increase and smirked. I'm not sure what it is, but I like it.
Before charging forward to attack Tsunade once more. Chinami-san, what kind of gauntlet is Naru-kun using? Kurama inquired, concerned for the blonde. Chinami closed her eyes and scoured the archives for information on the gauntlet. Her eyes widened in surprise as she discovered it and read the details before becoming concerned. Naruto-sama, don't use that gauntlet. It's too dangerous for you to use. She exclaimed, but Naruto was too angry to listen as he continued to attack. As Naruto descended towards Tsunade, his fist reared back and the gauntlet glowed once more, and he felt his power increase. Boost. Tsunade raised her hand to catch the punch, but the force of the attack was so powerful that she had to struggle, forming a crater under her feet. What's going on? He's never had this kind of strength before. Could it have something to do with that red gauntlet he's wearing? She snapped out of her reverie when she saw Naruto charging at him. She started attacking him with punches this time with the intention of knocking him out, but... Boost. Try blocking this with your Herculean strength. Naruto exclaimed, and Tsunade responded with her own. As both sides struggled to overpower the other, the collision of their fists created a shockwave that rattled the windows and doors of nearby buildings. I'm not finished yet.
Explosion.
Suddenly, his body radiated a red aura as he pushed Tsunade back and sent her flying from him. He dashed after her at high speed before catching up, then slammed a straight punch into her gut before crashing to the ground. That was for insulting the previous Hokages, and this is for me. As if by instinct, Naruto thrust his gauntlet forward and a small red orb appeared at his hand then. Burst. What just happened? Why do I suddenly feel so weak and tired? He wondered as he collapsed to the floor and the jewel on the gauntlet darkened. He tried to get up but pain ran through his entire body as he coughed out blood. Are you okay, Naruto? Jiraiya came over to help him sit up, and Shizune came over to check on him with her medical jutsu. I'm not sure what happened, but it appears that your body has reached its physical limit, Shizune said. That's the power of the boosted gear, Chinami explained. Boosted gear? Pondered Naruto. It is a special item that contains a dragon's soul. It doubles the user's power every 10 seconds and will continue to do so until you reach or possibly surpass the power of a Biju. Incredible. But surely there's a weakness for something this powerful, Kurama said, surprised by what she had just heard. Yes, because the body can't possibly contain all of the increased power. Continuous use of the boosted gear will put a severe strain on the body and will drain the user's stamina to a certain degree, and if used without caution, it will also drain their life force. I had no idea I was using something so dangerous, Naruto reflected. Yes, that's why I'll be locking it away until you've trained your body to handle the power, Tsunade said, with Naruto nodding in agreement. He then noticed Tsunade approaching them with an angry look in her eyes, and Jiraiya stepped forward in case she tried to do something reckless. Was it you, Jiraiya, who taught him the fourth jutsu? Tsunade inquired. Of course it was me. He's my apprentice and has the right to learn, Jiraiya explained. You're such a fool. Why teach something to an arrogant brat that only you and the fourth took a long time to master? No wonder he thinks he can take on the entire world with your foolish teachings? Don't talk to him like that. Give me 3 days and I'll fully master the Rasengan, yelled Naruto angrily. Really? Then how about we have a bet, Tsunade smirked. A bet? That's right, I'll give you 1 week to master that jutsu, and if you do, it proves you're right and I'm wrong. I'll even put up my necklace as a wager. Lady Tsunade, surely you don't mean to do that. Shizune exclaimed, having seen her mistress bet on many things but never on her necklace, which held many memories for her. What's the big deal about that necklace? Naruto wondered. That necklace belonged to the first Hokage, and there are only 2 of them left. It costs 3 gold mines, Jiraiya explained. In that case, you've got yourself a bet, Naruto smirked, and Tsunade nodded in agreement. However, if you don't master it in a week, that means I'm right and you're wrong, and I get to keep any money you have, Tsunade joked. Frankly, I don't care about the money because you have something else to earn from me and I'm not going to make it easy for you. Naruto stood up after feeling some of his strength return to his body. What are you on about, and why are you upset with me? You figure it out. Naruto stumbled back to the hotel, where Jiraiya had a shadow clone book a room for them. I have no idea what he's talking about, but I doubt it has anything to do with me. Tsunade turned and walked away, Shizune close behind, while Jiraiya watched them leave with a frown. When Naruto arrived at the hotel, he was meditating on the bed while Kurama channeled her chakra through his body to relieve his pain before resting for a full recovery. Naru-kun, did you have to be so reckless to attack her like that? You put yourself in danger because you were so angry. What would the girls think if they heard what you did? Kurama asked. I'm sorry Ku-chan, but what she said really enraged me. Gigi has watched over me for as long as I can remember, and if Dad hadn't sealed you in me, we wouldn't have met. Naruto bowed his head in shame. We understand your reasoning, Naruto-sama, but you must learn to control your anger in order to avoid endangering yourself or others, Shinami said. You're right. Anyway, I should focus on recovering to full strength so that I can train on the Rasengan, he said to himself as he walked to the door and cautiously opened it to see Tsunade's apprentice Shizune. I know it's late, but there's something I need to talk to you about, Shizune explained. What do you want to talk about? Naruto inquired. It's about Tsunade and the necklace, Naruto said, frowning. And why should I bother listening to her? Shizune became enraged when he said, what right do you have to say that? You know nothing about her. That's it, I don't know anything about her other than the fact that she abandoned me when I needed her. What are you talking about? Shizune inquired, perplexed. Naruto took a deep breath to calm himself. Let me tell you, because I know you mean well, you know what really happened when the village was attacked by the Kyuubi, right? He did seal the Kyuubi into a child, which is you. That's correct, but what you didn't know is that the fourth couldn't bring himself to seal the Kyuubi into another parent's child, so he sealed it into his own. Shizune took a step back in surprise when he realized who he was. Wait, you mean you're... That's right, I am the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Gigi told me that Pervy Sage and Tsunade were supposed to be my godparents, which is why I was so angry when they abandoned me to be mistreated by the villagers. I was able to forgive Pervy Sage after a while, but she has a lot of work to do, especially after what she said about my father and Gigi. I understand why you're so angry with her, but she wasn't always like that. She used to be kind, gentle, and dedicated to the village, but all that changed on that day, the day she lost everything, her hopes, dreams, even her loved ones, and that necklace is all that remains in memory of them, Shizune said. What's the big deal about the necklace? Naruto inquired. Aside from Lady Tsunade, it will not accept anyone wearing it. If anyone who isn't worthy wears it, they die. Wait. Could it be that the ones who died wore the necklace before? Trembled Naruto. That's right. First it was her little brother Nawaki, then her fiancé copyright, and then my uncle Dan, and she developed hemophobia and couldn't stay in the village because the memories were too painful for her to bear. So she would have left even if Danzo hadn't lied to her or probably taken you with her, Kurama explained. Shizune was surprised to hear what Naruto had just said. Thanks for telling me this. I might consider her a little, but I'm still going on with this bet, Naruto said. But if you wear that necklace, you'll die. You still have time to back out, Shizune said. If I die, I'm not worthy to be Hokage, and the bracelet has wasted its time on me, Naruto said as he escorted Shizune out of the room and wished her a good night before closing the door and going to bed. Naruto will then spend the next 3 days practicing on the Rasengan at a nearby stream on dead trees. It is the child's job to surpass the parent. Don't worry, Dad. I'll definitely master this jutsu and make you proudly watch over me. He didn't realize Tsunade had been hiding behind a boulder and watching him practice every day, remembering the conversation she and Jiraiya had one night. Flashback begin. Tsunade was drinking sake at a bar when someone sat next to her. She turned to see Jiraiya sitting next to her with a smile. What are you doing here? Don't you have a hot spring to look at? Tsunade asked. Well, it's been a while since we've sat together like this, so I thought we could catch up on old times, Jiraiya explained before ordering 2 bottles of sake for the 2 of them. They were sipping their drinks in silence until Jiraiya asked, Is he still on your mind? Who are you referring to? Of course, I'm referring to Naruto. He wasn't what you'd expect from an ordinary genin, was he? To think he could push me that far makes me wonder if he's a genin, and why did you bring someone like him here? Judging by the question you're asking, it's not just his strength that caught your attention, but how similar he is to a certain someone, Jiraiya said to Tsunade, who was staring at her glass of sake. Tsunade's silence was in response to his statement, it's not just that, they're so similar it's almost like he's his reincarnation. But why is he so angry with me when I've never met him in my life? And may I ask who told you that? Jiraiya inquired. One of the Anbu members told me that Minato sacrificed his life to seal the fox into an orphaned child. Why do you ask? Tsunade was perplexed. That's because you were lied to. That was one of Danzo's men from Root, Jiraiya said, sighing. Take another look at the kid, take off the whisker marks, and what do you get? Tsunade closed her eyes in thought before realizing, he looks just like Minato when he was younger, could he be? That's right, his full name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, and our godson. But. You should have known that Minato would never use another parent's child other than his own for the sealing. He'd rather die than do that, he says. Tsunade's eyes welled up with tears as she attempted to rise from her seat, but Jiraiya placed a hand on her shoulder and sat her down, saying, Why are you stopping me? I need to see him. I advise against it. He's still upset with you, especially after what you said about Minato and Sarutobi-sensei, Jiraiya advised. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she pushed her glass away, no longer wanting to drink. I wish I hadn't said those words. I don't want him to hate me, she said. I doubt he hates you, Tsunade. When we first met he beat me up for the same reason and was cold to me for a while, but as time passed, he slowly warmed up to me, so I'm sure the same can happen to you, Jiraiya said, rubbing her shoulders. Are you sure? Tsunade asked, her eyes bright. Of course, and I know you're planning on meeting Orochimaru, Jiraiya continued, seeing Tsunade's surprised expression. Let me tell you something interesting. On the day when Orochimaru attacked the village with his forces, Naruto was at the front lines using everything he has to protect the village and civilians. If it hadn't been for him, Sarutobi-sensei would have been killed by Orochimaru himself, that snake. So that's what happened to his arms. He was very tight-lipped about what happened to them, Tsunade explained. Which is why I want you to think very carefully about this, because your decision could affect not only yourself, but others like Naruto. I just hope you make the right choice. Jiraiya got up and left Tsunade in the bar to her thoughts after speaking. End of flashback. Tsunade snapped out of her reverie and turned her attention to Naruto, who was still training alone in the middle of the night after leaving Tora at the hotel. I'm so sorry for leaving you behind and saying those things, but I promise that I'll try to make things right between us and take care of you like I should have, she said as she walked away, her eyes set on something. Naruto was walking towards the hotel where Tsunade and Shizune were staying, Tora riding in the hood of his jacket as usual. Well, today's the last day of the bet, and I'm going to show her what I can do, Naruto said. But it's odd that Jiraiya wasn't in the room when we woke up, Shinami observed. He's probably doing his so-called research elsewhere to write those stupid smut, huffed Kurama. Naruto entered the room and knocked on the door, but no one answered. He knocked a few more times, but no one came to open it. That's strange, I thought even Shizune would have come to open the door, he said as he opened the door and entered the room, only to find Shizune unconscious on the floor and Tsunade nowhere in sight. He dashed over to her and shook her several times until she stirred awake. Shizune, are you okay? What happened to you? Naruto? Shizune blinked a few times before abruptly sitting up. What day is it and what time? It's Monday morning, but why were you lying on the ground? Said Naruto, puzzled for a moment. Shizune was deep in thought when her eyes widened in realization. Oh no, I can't waste any more time here, she exclaimed. Naruto, please stay. Shizune stood up and ran to the window, opening it when they heard a groan from outside. Naruto came to the window and saw Jiraiya leaning against the wall, exhausted. What happened to Pervy Sage? Inquired Naruto, concerned. Damn Tsunade, she must have spiked my drink last night when we were drinking. I can't build up my chakra and my body feels so weak, I must be losing my touch if I didn't notice her slipping that drug into my drink, Jiraiya said, turning to Shizune. I think it's time you told us what happened when you and Tsunade met Orochimaru before we came, Shizune said. Orochimaru promised Lady Tsunade that if she healed his arms, he would bring Nawaki and Dan back to life, Shizune explained. Naruto and Jiraiya were enraged when they realized what Orochimaru would do if she succeeded. That's why Shizune was knocked out and Jiraiya was drugged, so they wouldn't interfere, Kurama speculated. I doubt she can heal his arms, especially after what Naruto did to him, Jiraiya said. What exactly do you mean? During his battle with Orochimaru, Naruto summoned a special blade capable of severing a person's soul. Naruto used it to cut off a piece of Orochimaru's soul, his arms, so Tsunade can't heal them. Even so, we need to get there quickly before anything else happens, Naruto said, unsealing the Muramasa strapped to his back and waist. I'll show you the way. Shizune said, jumping through the rooftops with Naruto and Jiraiya close behind, heading towards where she had previously met Orochimaru. I hope you know what you're doing, Tsunade. Just make sure it's not the wrong choice, Jiraiya reasoned.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.